Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Chidori, A Story of 1,000 Birds by Jennifer Maruno and Miki Sato. This is the story of Hana, who's at school one day gazing longingly out the window at the ocean, at the fish market where her mother works, and at the winding road that her father takes to work every day. She can't wait for the end of the day when she and her mother meet at their regular meeting rock before they go home. But before the end of the day comes, everything suddenly starts to shake. An earthquake shakes their town, making everyone have to evacuate the building. And not only that, but their seaside community is then ravaged by a tsunami in the aftermath. And of course, tsunamis are not that safe when you live by the coast, and the whole town starts to fall apart. So, as everyone begins to work their way up out of the remnants of what the ocean has left behind. Hana has to dig deep in order to find her way through the difficult times. And in order to do that, she remembers the plovers, the birds that showcase the fact that you can overcome even the greatest adversity. This lovely lyrical story talks about one girl and how she manages to survive not only the damage that is inflicted by an earthquake and tsunami in her town, but also what happens to her family as a result. So the story is not only beautifully written, but also really interesting in its illustrative design. So as you can tell, there is a collage style illustration going on. So that helps to give some depth and texture to the pictures, even though they are just on a flat surface. It looks like you can touch them and you see the texture of the waves even in the paper that's used to depict them. So as you're going through the book, you see all of the different layers of the village before and after the tsunami hits. And then you have the plovers, which are painted. And so there's a really interesting juxtaposition in the imagery, in the texture that happens with the majority of the illustration, and then the softness that comes in with the plovers themselves. So as you're going through the story, there's all sorts of detail in each picture. You have a lot to look at in each one. And while this can be read in a larger setting, because the illustrations are easy to see from a distance, there's going to be some intrigue in looking at those pictures more closely. So it is a narrative style. There is a good amount of text on each page. And because of the depth of the storytelling and the intensity of the storytelling, it is well suited to older readers, probably kindergarten age or so, so that they can start to consider exactly what's happening in the story and what the implications of that might be. So even into early elementary school, there's going to be a lot of interest in this book, not only because of the way that it's designed, but also because of the story that it tells. There's a message at the end that talks about plovers and about the tsunami specifically of 2011. And so readers are going to get a little bit of history from that as well after they've read the book. Definitely lots of emotion, family connection, and community rebuilding in this book. And it's told in a way that is memorable and symbolic in the design, especially with the inclusion of the plover bird. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.